My daughter blocked me after the divorce without ever listening to my side of the story. Now, 8 years later, she finally contacted me, but only because she thought she was getting an inheritance. She was 20 when the divorce happened, legally an adult. There was no way for me to be in her life unless she wanted me there. I tried contacting her multiple times, but my ex threatened to sue me for harassment if I didn't leave our daughter alone. So I spent those years taking care of my mom, who had Alzheimer's, and throwing myself into work. When my mom passed away, I dealt with that grief completely alone. A few months later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was my daughter. Her voice sounded unfamiliar. That's how long it had been. She said she'd seen on Facebook that her grandmother passed away and wanted to check in on me. I thought it was sweet. We talked for a little while, and she suggested meeting in person to catch up. I was excited, nervous, and honestly hopeful. I cooked dinner for her. When I opened the door, I didn't even recognize her. Nearly a decade had passed. We talked about her job, her life, the things I'd been doing. Then I asked why she never listened to my side of the story during the divorce. She said she regretted how everything turned out, that she was young, and her mother had manipulated her into believing I was the villain. Things were going well until I asked what made her reach out now. She hesitated, then admitted she'd been keeping tabs on me on Facebook. When she saw that her grandmother died, she assumed lawyers would be contacting her soon about an inheritance. When no one did, she reached out herself. She said she'd recently gotten engaged and could really use the money for wedding expenses. It felt like being punched in the stomach. The thing is, legally, it's not even her inheritance, it's mine. If she hadn't cut me off and blocked me for 8 years, she probably would have ended up with most of it. I asked how she even knew about my mom's will. She said that years ago, before the divorce, my mom told her she wanted her to inherit everything as the only grandchild. I decided to test her. I asked how much she was expecting. She gave a surprisingly accurate guess. Then I told her the truth. My mother left everything to me, and I plan to use it to start a business. But I'd be willing to give her a few $1,000s from my personal savings for her wedding. The disappointment on her face told me everything. She said that as the only grandchild, she deserves at least some of it. I told her my decision was final. She turned red with anger and said, "I should have known you'd be the selfish jerk Mom always said you were. No wonder you're alone." I looked at her and said, "And I should have known you were your mother's daughter." I told her it was disgusting to use my grief to manipulate me. Then I said something that stunned her. "If only you hadn't blocked me all those years ago, you would have gotten my messages about your grandmother. And probably most of the inheritance." She looked confused until I told her to unblock my old number. She did. I forwarded every message I'd ever sent, texts where I begged her to hear my side, where I told her her grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, where I begged her to visit before my mom forgot she even had a grandchild. She read them silently. Shame filled her face. But then she said, "Well, it's clear Grandma would have wanted me to have my share. It's not fair for you to punish me for being young and manipulated back then. I genuinely want to rebuild our relationship. But if you choose to be selfish now, I won't feel comfortable continuing it." I looked her in the eye and said, "If money is what makes or breaks our relationship, then maybe we shouldn't have one at all. The inheritance is off the table."